Hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm just going to wait for Carla to join the chat, but I just want to welcome everybody who's here to join us tonight for our Beyond the Stage IG Live. And we have the beautiful Christina Clavero here today from the CB Group joining us and chatting more about real estate, more about branding and social media. And you don't want to miss this episode tonight because this is somebody who has beyond a great experience in all of these areas. And we can talk about the current market and how to brand and how to market you yourself as a realtor. So I'm just waiting for Carla to join, and then we can have our guest join us. It worked. And
It works. Well, nice seeing you again. Thank you, everyone, for being here one more time on Beyond the Stage. We're very excited today.
yes,
Happy to see Edelka. We spent a lot of time together. Today
the
we
last
are in
24
different
hours.
spaces and here and there, so you guys got a little bit of a glimpse of what we did today. But we're excited about the topic. But before we start, Edelka, I want to say that we are very grateful and thankful because we have achieved 10 IG Lives so far. And a space that started actually as something new, a new phase for Interiors and Impressions and Interiors and Impressions Academy to build community. So we have made it, and I'm very proud of us. And I wanted to share this here, and thank you everyone for
Yeah,
being with us.
just thanks to all the guests that we've had. It's a little bit tricky for us because we're doing this bilingual. So we do have the episodes in English and Spanish. So it's the going back and forth and ensuring that we can accommodate everybody in our community.
Right?
But we love it. We love being bilingual company and being able to share the experience that we have here in Canada with Latin America. And we are excited for all the community that we're building. So I just want to thank everybody, all our guests, and everybody as part of I Academy and Interiors and Impressions who's been following us and supporting us in what we do. So thank you so much.
Yes, and well, we're excited today as well because we have Christina Clavero. She is one of our guests, special guests. We spent some time with her today as well, but we have been working with Christina and the CB group for now probably 8 years in their whole career, plus all the time that we know each other from before. And she's always been, a reference of kind of inspire you to be in front of camera and, giving yourself and being authentic. So this is a really good conversation that we're going to have today. So I'm very excited.
Yes. And, I just want to go back. We always go on here and we never reintroduce ourselves. So I am Adelka, just for anybody who's new here. I am the one I from I, and Carla, who's here joining us. We're business partners, and we started this live, how she explained. And, it's called Beyond the Stage because we are discussing more than home staging. We're discussing it's beyond design. It's about connection. It's about growth. It's about purpose and allowing and giving our community the opportunity to hear from experts and people in their field about what they do and how they can help and grow as well. So I just wanted to make
Yeah.
note of that.
Well, thank you for that. Okay, so while we wait for Christina to come, if you want to actually see if she requested already,
Yeah.
I want to read a little bit about her bio. So Christina Clavero is the co-managing director of the agency Oakville and co-founder of the CB Group, one of the top performing real estate teams in Burlington and in Oakville. Known for her sharp eye from branding and creative marketing. Hi, Christina. I can
Hi
see
guys.
you there. I have a lot to say, so just give me 1 second so I can finish here. She has built a powerhouse presence online over the past decade, earning the title of #1 realtor to follow in Oakville multiple years in a row by Property Spark. Her videos have reached hundreds of thousands of viewers, and she's personally sold over 30 million in real estate through social media alone. Christina has mastered the art of turning attention into trust and trust into results. Both of her clients are her growing team. So thank you, Christina, for being here. Very
Thank you for
happy to
having me.
see you again. We always love having you with us. This time um, here in Beyond the Stage, as we were saying, this goes beyond real estate design and just building community. It's more about sharing knowledge, and you are a professional that is, so knowledgeable in what you do in terms of not only real estate but also in marketing and branding. So, thank you for being here and sharing this topic with us.
No, thank you guys for having me. I really, really appreciate it. That was a lovely intro. Thank you so much for that. And I love talking about social media marketing. Like it's a topic that I'm really passionate about, and I love sharing that info with other people who are struggling with their business, whether it's real estate or something else. So thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, and you're welcome. And it's so funny. We saw each other. All three of us were together earlier today at
Yeah.
one of our colleagues' open, and I guess you call it brokers open,
Yes.
right? So
Mhm.
it was so fun to just see everybody, and it's always nice when we get to connect because everybody's doing their thing, and so and these gatherings, it's really nice. So it was nice seeing you. It would have been really fun for us, all three of us, get together and just do it all in one space.
You know what? We should have planned it because we were all there together. We should have planned it that way.
Yeah,
We could have
yeah,
stayed there and do this, more like a style of a podcast. That would have been amazing.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So that's the next time. Yes.
yes. And thank you to Carla, the realtor, for hosting such a fun event today because
Yeah.
it was very successful and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was an amazing event. You can see it on my stories. I know you guys posted some on your stories,
Yes,
a little bit behind the scenes, but it was a great day, a great event. So really
yes,
happy for
definitely.
Carla, for Steve, beautiful new listing they have there, just outside of Guelph. So
Yeah.
gorgeous luxury home.
Well, I mean, this is all about branding, and I guess, we're talking about a broker's open, and
Mhm.
let's just get onto it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I feel like everybody right now, who are entrepreneurs, independents, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a designer, we are all building, we have our companies, but behind that company is who we are. It's
Mhm.
our brand. It's how we connect and how we communicate to the world, our service, what we do. So I think branding is key to be discussed today. And I think Christina, Carlos and Christina, I'm going to say, because if you're joining us, there is another half to Christina. And we've actually had both Carlos and Christina on Beyond the Stage, one of our second episode, I think it was. And we were discussing, it was a Spanish episode. So we were discussing similar things. But today, I think Christina, as Carla described in her bio, she has, been celebrated for what her social media, what she has accomplished, and how she, communicates that. So tell us, how would you describe your brand today, and how did it evolve to
Okay.
what it is now?
So just a little bit about me is I started on Instagram around 2017. My husband Carlos and I were on a luxury real estate team with our partner David Bukowski. Now we have the CB Group, our own luxury team, but we were on a luxury team, and I said, you know what, I want to stand out. I think I should start an Instagram channel, and that's how Carlos and Christina started. And I think our brand is elevated, it's sophisticated, but it's also trustworthy and I think relatable at the same time. So I think we're authentic, like you can see who we are and get to know us as people. And I liked when you started, when you said, like, you are your brand, right? So people, like, if you're providing a service, people want to see who's behind this brand. Like, they want to see the faces behind the business. So, you have to keep that in mind when you're branding yourself on social media.
We know right now that this is something that is a requirement really for everybody, not only in any industry. Right now, we need to really showcase who we are, what we do, and people are expecting that. But what really helped you, because you started many years ago, it's not just this year, so you
Right.
go back to really figure out that you needed to be present in social media. I know you have a team, so how that happened?
So initially, when I was on this luxury team, I was posting luxury listings. Like, we had the most gorgeous listings in Oakville and Burlington. I was on one of the top teams at the time, and I was showcasing those listings, but I wasn't getting the results that I was expecting. I didn't grow my followers, and I thought, I got to change it up. I have to do something different. I'm going to appear on camera. And you guys know me, I'm a very introverted person. I'm reserved, I'm quiet. So I was like, I'm going to go out of my comfort zone. I'm going to put myself on camera and see if I can get some different results. And I started doing that when I was at these luxury listings. I would show up on camera. I would talk about the listings. I would talk about the business. I'd show behind the scenes and try to connect with my audience. And I found by doing that, things just started growing from there. I just really got a great response when people started seeing me show up on camera, and Carlos as well, of course.
And how did you actually brought Carlos and David to do videos? Because I know as girls, as women, we're a little bit more like, okay, we have to do it. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get out of our comfort zone. But
Mhm.
for men, I find sometimes it takes a little longer to feel more comfortable to even be out of their, like that privacy that sometimes
Right.
we feel we lose, right? When we're on social media. How do you do
Absolutely.
that magic with them?
You know what? There's no magic. Like, I honestly, Carlos and Dave are so great on camera. They're very well spoken. They're very put together. So when we do our listing videos, I encourage everyone on the team to say something in the listing video. It's an opportunity to showcase not just the listing, but ourselves
Mhm.
as a team and as a brand. So we all have a part to say in the listing video, and we like to do our videos together as a team. So I think I appear more on camera just because I really do enjoy it. I love giving market updates. I love talking about behind the scenes. I think it's a great way to connect with the audience and hopefully grow trust between myself and the people watching. And then hopefully those people will become my future clients because, they feel like I relate to them. They can trust me, they get to know me, and it's a lot of times like I'll meet people and they'll be like, oh, I already know you because I've been following you for so long on social
Yeah.
media. So it's great to hear when people say that too.
You mentioned something about, your like showing your personality, and we talked about authenticity. And I think this is a word that everybody talks about now because it is important. It's so important because we, on social media, you just see pictures and videos, and there's no real like there's a reality beyond all those beautiful pictures, right? And
Mhm.
so the authenticity is so important, and I believe in something as important as real estate. When you're selling someone's home, when people are trusting you into their most, probably the most expensive item that they own or that they're going to buy,
Mhm.
right? So tell us more about how you use your personality. And I mean, in a group it must be difficult because I know even with Carla and I's partnership, like you mentioned, you're on camera a little bit more than the group, and Carla and I are very similar. she
Mhm.
does she does more camera work than I'm sort of more beyond behind the scenes, and that's normal. Like, I think that's part of the authenticity, part
Yeah,
of the being like, that's your personality, that's who you are, and that's who you have to be. So, um,
exactly.
so anyway, so tell us, like, how do you um come across, and how do you do that with your content creation, with your branding, and how do you involve the rest of the team to be this?
Yeah. Well, I think like if you're not authentic, that's going to come across really quick on social media. And I see that sometimes with people trying to be something they're not, right? And it's just not going to come across well. It's people aren't going to relate to you. So I think just be yourself. When I started on camera, like I had a social media coach when I started because I wanted to learn more about how to market myself on social media. And she would tell me things like, "Oh, Christina, you need to be like more crazy and outgoing. You should change outfits and you should do this and do this funny skit." I'm like, that's not me. And it's not going to come across great on camera because it's not authentic. It's not who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just started like with my iPhone, presenting homes, talking about the listings that I had on camera. And it's funny because after doing that for a few months, I just got this random DM, and it was this developer, and he said, "Hey, I've been watching your videos. I really like how you present yourself on camera and you present the luxury homes that you're representing. I think you'd be perfect to sell this new luxury development in Oakville that I'm working on." And I was like, "For real? Like, is this a joke? Like, is this a real
Wow,
person?"
yeah.
Um, so he was actually, in fact, a real developer. Carlos and I went to meet with him in North York, and we landed this amazing new development project just from showing up on social media with our iPhone, nothing fancy. It wasn't like a whole production or anything, right? So I think like he just thought like this person's relatable, they're knowledgeable. Like I would talk about the features, the finishes, the market, what's happening in the luxury market. And I think he felt like he could trust us to take over that project. So, and then it just kept going from there, right? Getting those DMs or getting people to reach out and say, "Hey, I really like how you present, the properties that you list on social media, or the value you provide," right? It's about providing value and information. You either want to entertain or educate on social media, and I'm not an entertainer. That's not me. So
I will vouch for that.
But something we were talking today, and going back to how to be authentic, we were talking this morning about how to come across in a way that you feel that you're ready, like how you start. In your case, for example, that you started doing content and practicing also gave you to master that skill. But for a new agent that is starting right now, and part of being a real estate agent, let's focus on this right now, and they have to be on social media. I remember you were talking about the main or the fundamentals pillars for you to do before you go on camera, like the pillars of finding out who you are. Can you
right.
tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so first I have to say like 25% of all of our business from our team comes from social media. So that's a huge chunk of our business.
Yeah.
If you're not doing social media as a realtor, and there's realtors that do it really well and 100% of their business comes from social media. Like one person comes to mind, James in the city, you know? So if you're not on social media, you're leaving money on the table for sure. But first you have to kind of, hone in on who you are and who you're trying to serve. Who is your ideal client? So what are your core values? How are you going to project yourself on social media? Like you want to stay true to yourself and your values. And then who is your ideal client? Are you helping first-time buyers? Are you helping investors? Are you helping people buy and sell luxury homes? And you're going to have to tailor your social media around who your ideal client is. So always keep that ideal client in the back of your mind when you're putting yourself out there on social media. I think that's the best way. And you don't have to be perfect, right? Just get started, start posting content. Think about what a first-time buyer would like to learn. What things do you think are important for them to know? And just start putting out that content. And once you do that, you'll start gaining traction, right? People will find you, and like you want to find the right people that will align with your values and align with your brand and the message you're putting out there.
And that's great because you are everyone. I think it feels a little bit afraid, even if you have been in camera before. Just starting something new that is going to be part of your branding, scary.
Yes.
So something else that you mentioned to me this morning was that you recommend once you start doing a profile on IG, for example, it's good to really, once you know who your target audience is going to be or where you're going to focus, which market, it's good to put some, uh, a little bit like, let's say like a sentence or something that describes, right? So people, when they go into your profile, they see exactly luxury listings or first time home buyers. So that's important. How
Right.
do you start? Like, what do you recommend for somebody starting on IG and opening a profile?
Yeah, I think your profile, your bio, it has to be really clear on who you are and who you're trying to help, right? So I see sometimes realtors post like, I'm a real estate agent, but where? What city are you
Right.
in? So
Yeah.
many people don't put that. It's wild. Like, and you're trying to figure out where are they selling, which city are they from? Don't assume people know where you are. You could have people from anywhere watching your content. So put where you are, like I'm a luxury realtor helping people in the GTA, Oakville, Burlington, Toronto, Hamilton. Or I'm a realtor who works with first-time buyers in New York, or I focus on condos, whatever it is. Be really clear and specific in your bio. And those words, like when people are searching for a realtor that works with people that deal with condos or investors or whatever, then it's easier for them to find you.
And
Yeah.
talking about that branding, I want to say we talked about branding today, and that's part of the branding. Today we're wearing black and white because
Mhm.
we decided to stay on brand. I
That's
just
right.
wanted to say that. Which is
You
part of your
know,
bio as well, right? So
Yeah.
so I think that's great advice, and I also feel that people probably think that you need to have like a huge following to be successful in this, right? So tell us like how do you navigate that, and what kind of advice would you have for agents who are starting off, maybe, just new in the industry and they don't have a lot of followers,
Right.
but how do they grow, and how does that work?
Yeah, so it's more about building community. Think about it that way, right? It's social media. It's meant to be social. So you can't just post stuff and then that's it. Like you got to interact with other people through social media. So go onto other pages, follow other people, like and comment on their content, follow local businesses, promote them. They'll probably share that content. They'll reshare it on their stories or on their page. So if you're doing that, you'll start to grow your following, right? Collaborate with other people, like stagers, like mortgage brokers, people in the industry, and then people in your community, and build your own community on social media. It's not about having 500,000 followers or 50,000 followers. Who cares, right? You just want the right followers, local people who are going to hopefully be your client one day, right? And support your business. So you don't want to buy fake followers. That's not going to help your account. It actually does the opposite. So just like really engage with people. If people comment on your page, respond to those comments, and create a community with social media. And once you do that, you'll see your page will slowly start to grow.
Yeah, I'm not a person like I could care less about followers. Like,
Mhm.
no, like it's just not a thing that I don't live my life like feeling the need to be validated by other people, but I understand the community aspect of it and I love that part of it. I think that's really important. But I think some people might just get overwhelmed by that, like how to keep consistent online posting and things like that. So like how do you guys do that? Like do you and Carlos share the, the social media tasks, or is it something that you just enjoy doing it so you do it?
So I mainly run the at Carlos and Christina account as well as the CB Group Realty. That's our team page. And I try to just block an hour a day for social media. It's part of my business. It's free advertising. So why wouldn't I focus some time on it every single day? So that hour could be creating content. It could be engaging with other people on the different accounts. It could be coming up with new ideas, like seeing what other people are doing and getting inspired and new ideas. But I try to block off 1 hour a day. That's it. I use it as like a networking tool as well. I've become a part of a group of women realtors across Canada, and we refer each other business. So I'll go on there, message them, like DM people, and it's part of my business. So I built it into my day-to-day thing. And people get overwhelmed with creating content. My advice for that is to batch film. So, maybe one day you do your hair and makeup and you batch film a bunch of content, right? You sit in your office with your ring light and you can do a bunch of videos. If you have the budget, you can hire a videographer. I usually hire the videographer that we film our listings with, and we'll do some like extra content on the side. Or if, we have a day, we'll bring the team together and we'll start shooting in Oakville or Burlington, showcasing the community. But we'll batch film like maybe 6, 7, 8 videos, and then we have content to continuously put out there.
Yeah, a lot of people might get overwhelmed because, as you said, right, they think they have to, record every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that you talk about that, but also I want you to tell us a bit about what tools somebody that is starting to do content requires, because you think I have to do a big investment. And I see you, with your phone and in your car, you don't even have like extra lighting. It's just simple. And one thing I heard, and I remember Adelka was with me, and they say when you look at social media as your partner who's going to work for you, actually changes the way you feel about creating content.
Right. I
So,
love that. I love that take on it. You don't need much to get started. You just need a smartphone, like an iPhone or a Samsung. I'll tell you a secret. I film in my car because the lighting is usually really good. It's natural lighting.
that's right.
And it's quiet, right? My kids aren't there yelling in the background. It's quiet. So I take a moment. If I park somewhere, I'll start filming, or usually Carlos is driving and I'm the passenger. So I'm like, okay, I'll take this moment to film some content. So you don't need much, but I mean, I would invest in a ring light. I think, with it, you can put your phone there and that'll help you film content. It's cheap on Amazon. You can get one or anywhere. And some apps. You can use CapCut. There's a free version of CapCut that helps you create content, edit videos, add text, or add captions. And I think also a lot of people are good with Canva. I'm not that great with Canva.
Yeah.
But a lot of people create beautiful content on Canva. And again, there's a free version of that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of templates and things that can be useful for people to use for videos, right? Now, tell us a bit about how much content. I know you said that you sometimes Carlos is driving and you are making content. So it's a spontaneous, right? It's something that sometimes doesn't have a script. But how much in percentage you have to balance that between your personal, showing a little bit of your personal life, and then your professional?
Yeah.
How is that for people to understand, okay, I'm afraid to be, in my own space, but at the same time, you need to show who you are as a person.
Yeah, I think it's really important to show a little bit about your personal life, but you don't have to show everything. And again, there's realtors that show a lot about their personal life, and that's their choice. Again, I'm a little bit more reserved. My kids are teenagers. They don't want to be on camera. They hate when I bring out my camera. But you do have to show your human side, that I show, like, I'm a mom and I'm cheering for my son at his soccer game, or I'm at volleyball with my daughter, and I share those family moments, family vacations, and usually again I'm on the soccer field or something, and I actually find that content gets the most engagement because people can relate to me as a mom, right? So showing a little bit about your hobbies, your personal life, something interesting that you're doing, if you went to a cool restaurant, people like to see that content as well because they want to relate to you as a human, not just a realtor, right? Or a designer. So it's important to share a little bit. I say 80-20 is a good rule. 80% business, 20% personal. Some things I wouldn't ever share would be political views. Stay away from that topic. Like, it's anything controversial. I've seen realtors like blow up their business because they just went off about something political or something controversial. We all have our own views, obviously, but you don't want to alienate people or, impact your business. So I just don't share any of that stuff. I share, fun, positive things on social media, about my life, about my family, about my business.
Yeah, so like when you think about it, there's still an element of editing when it comes to social
Mhm.
media because you can't. I mean, some people are out there going and talking about everything, right? And that's again authentically them, and
Mhm.
that's their right to do what they want to do with their community and the people who follow them. It's up to them, right? But
Right.
there is an element of social media is great, but it is an edited version of your life. And that's okay because, as you say, it's a marketing tool.
Mhm.
We have to use it as what it is. And we don't want it to take over our lives either, right? But because at the end of the day, I think, it's important to be present in whatever we're doing with our clients, in our work, with our families. And social media could, at times take over that. I know, you mentioned your kids don't like to be filmed and stuff. My kids are the exact same, right? Same age group.
Mhm.
And I'm sure, eventually they will have businesses or they'll have be doing the same thing and they'll understand one day. But, going back to just talking about, you you've positioned yourself, you and Carlos and your group, the CB group, you've positioned yourself as industry like luxury listings in the
Mhm.
luxury market, right?
Yeah.
So and I think you guys do such a beautiful job, by the way. Like your content, your photographs, your videos, it speaks for themselves. Like you guys really, really do a great job. um and now that the market is, it's always shifting, it's always changing, and I see your updates, your newsletters, you go on there and you're like letting people know. And I think that's so important to just like to your clients, to your customers, to your followers, let them know what's going on in the industry. So, can we talk a little bit more about what's happening now in the market and how you guys are navigating the industry and the shifts in your social media and in your marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. So it hasn't been the best market. Obviously, we know interest rates have gone up. Um, there's inventory going up. A lot of people are putting their homes for sale. It could be something to do with like their mortgages are coming due and the interest rates have gone up and they don't want to carry that big mortgage anymore. The economy has slowed down and we have the threat of the US tariffs looming over our head every single day. So the market has been a lot slower this year than it has typically been. And, you just have to pivot and navigate through that. And I try to keep my followers educated. I'll give them market updates in terms that people can understand. So I take all the data I read, from the real estate boards and the news and the updates, and I take all that data and I break it down and I explain it to people. Sales are down 46%, right? Days on market are up. Prices have come down about 5% in the GTA. This is what we're dealing with. If you want to sell your home, you need to be realistic with price. It also needs to be presented really, really well. Staging, lighting, photography has to be on point. And you also have to be patient, right? So I try to explain that to my followers. A lot of them are my clients, so they understand, realize like, we're doing everything we can to market your home and get it exposure, but you just have to be patient in this market. It's temporary. Things will turn around. And if you're a buyer, a lot of opportunity out there, and it's all how you look at the market, right?
Yeah.
Which way are you looking at it? It could be a huge opportunity if you're a buyer. You can actually get in. Rates have started to come down a little bit, hoping that there's going to be another rate cut in the next couple of months. But rates have come down a little bit. Prices have come down. Now is an amazing time because you don't have to like fight for a listing and multiple offers.
Right.
You can negotiate price, negotiate conditions, do your home inspection, take your time. It's not that crazy market that we saw during COVID. So
And I think it's great that you are mentioning all this right now about the situation in the market, but also it brings me into exactly what real estate agents have to do at the moment, informing people, educating, and being present on social media, any channel. In your
Mhm.
case, with your email campaigns, with your newsletters, like giving information to the clients. So this is good for new agents to see, and they're navigating now this industry and the situation that it's quite stressful. So starting a business right now, new agents, obviously, they're going into a new way of doing business.
Right.
Now, it takes me back to everything we have talked about social media and being authentic and being present. Now, branding.
Mhm.
As we mentioned, the newsletters that you actually send with the group, CB group, constantly, that's all part of being present. Not only, in like with doing your videos and being on camera, but also being present through every way, every platform, every way possible with your clients or anyone that can follow you.
Right.
What can you tell us about branding right now? How important it is to really know when we talk about values and all that, how to build that brand that represents you and your business.
Yeah, so again, it comes down to identifying your values
Mm-hmm.
and translating that into your brand and being consistent, right? So we have our logo, we have our colors, we're with the agency, so it's red, but we're consistent. So we're consistently sending out newsletters, posting on social media. We have a neighborhood that we farm, it's called farming in Burlington, where we're sending out information or flyers to that neighborhood. We're sending out like a really detailed market report in the next week or so to that neighborhood. So it's just all about being consistent with your brand and getting it out there on all different platforms, like you said. But you just have to know like who you are, and stick to that and be consistent. Like I can't emphasize consistency enough.
And
Um,
that's great though, because it's also, we always talk about that because branding goes in every aspect of any business, right? To
right.
identify who you are and for people to recognize what you do, and you see this is Christina, but Christina represents your team plus the agency that you're working for at the moment.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, so for branding, for example, how can you recommend agents sometimes when they have been doing work and they feel, okay, I want to kind of shape that. I want to maybe rebrand myself.
Mhm.
Does
So
it
a good
happen in a lot of times through your career that you can see agents rebranding themselves?
Yeah, agents rebrand themselves all the time. I think sometimes you grow and evolve as a person, and your brand grows and evolves with you. A good way to do that is if you're not sure, ask like some of your closest friends
Mm.
what they like about you, what they think your good qualities are. And you can take that information and use that in your branding because sometimes we don't see those things or we don't see how people see us. So ask like your closest friends, like what do they think about you as a person, as a friend, as a realtor, and they'll probably tell you a lot, right? And you can
That's
use
actually
those.
a really good idea. I never even
Ah,
thought of that. I'm going to do that because I'm really curious. And I feel like we're always, as you say, it's like rebranding is also a part of life in terms of your own personal life, how you,
Right.
evolve as a person. Like you can't be staying the same for the last 5 years if you haven't grown and you don't continue to grow and evolve as a person in your life. How, like, I mean, I just, let's
Yeah.
not go there. But there are people, I guess, who live like that.
Right.
But like I could see how, like, I mean, how many times have Carla and we have
rebranding
had to
ourselves.
shift our businesses and so forth. I can't see that. I'm not saying that it's a rebrand, but maybe it is called a rebrand. But
It's growing,
because
right? But it
I,
shapes everything that we're
yeah,
bringing.
like, but I think we've always stayed consistent in the type
Mm-hmm.
of aesthetic because we're in an industry that's about, showcasing design and homes and furniture and all this kind of stuff. So it's always been consistent, but we've evolved so many times. We've rebranded so many times, and we
Right.
continue to do so. So I think this is such a cute exercise, and
Yeah.
it'd be kind of fun to hear what your friends have to say about what they think of you.
No, exactly. And then you can use that when you're rebranding yourself. Like we rebranded ourselves when we created the CB group, right? When we joined David and we came up with like our new brand, our new team, and we joined the agency, that all happened at the same time.
Mhm.
So like we kind of aligned ourselves with the branding of our brokerage as well, because that's a big part of our team and who we are. So you're consistently growing. As a brand, as a person. So it's totally fine to rebrand yourself. Um,
And
but
especially for real estate agents, sometimes you are working on your own, sometimes you're part of a group, sometimes you just change, after so many years and become part of another group. So
right,
besides branding yourself as part of an agent, for example, the agency that has an amazing branding, and just by the color and just the name itself, you can tell right away who they are,
right,
right? And but as well, I find, and I want you to tell me your how you feel about this. You still have to brand yourself individually.
absolutely,
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I find it could happen to anyone. We can lose, our authenticity because we become only part of a particular brand. But at
yes,
the end of the day, in order for you to evolve, talking about evolving and changing and rebranding, we have to still have that little bit of, your own personality. And that's when it comes to 80/20. I think it's important to keep that in mind, that tip that you gave, because that really tells about who you are as a
exactly,
person. It doesn't matter where you go.
right. Like the brokerage you're with or the company you're with, their brand should align with you and your values, but don't hide behind that brand. Like I see a lot of agents hide behind their
Mm.
brokerage and they only put out content that the brokerage creates. And it should all go together, right? You can use a little bit of the content that the brokerage creates. Hopefully you're with a cool brokerage like the agency that
Yeah.
creates content. But then also you got to create your own content and you got to show your individuality. So don't hide behind your brokerage or the company you work for. Show a little bit about yourself. It's really, really important.
Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. Yeah.
No, I think that's great advice, and again, it goes back to just showcasing yourself and who you are. Now, in terms of branding, like we're going to continue here because I thought of this, and it's like you talk about yourself, your brokerage, your group, if you're part of a group as an agent, but also your homes, right? Like your listings,
Right.
your properties, like that's a part of your brand. So, I mean, if you're a luxury, if you guys are, that's your brand, it's a luxury listing brand where
Mhm.
that's the type of brands and the type of listings you have. I can't see that you guys are all of a sudden going to start, marketing a different type of homes, right? And working with different types of clients. So how does that work as well?
So it's interesting you say that. So like our niche is luxury, right? And we do most of our business in that like $3 million and up price point, but we actually list all types of properties.
Mm.
Okay.
So our marketing is the same if it's a $500,000 condo or a $5 million house. We're not gonna cut or skimp on marketing. We're going to use the same videographer and photographer. We're going to do the same level of photography and videography to showcase the home. We're not going to cut back because of the price point of the home. I think luxury is more about an experience and not
Okay.
just price point, right? And we want to show that in any price point that we're working with, and we want that client to feel that experience as they're going through the process with us. And it ties into everything, like how the property's presented. Like we've brought you guys into staged little condos and townhouses for us, as well as $7-8 million homes, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that that home looks on point. So when we take those photos and those videos, like people are just drawn to the property and want to come and see it in person and put an offer. So we pretty much like that's our brand. We're not gonna like take pictures with our iPhone because it's a lease. Like even if it's a lease, we're gonna have professional photos done. A lot of agents don't do that, but it's an investment not just in our listings but in our brand,
Yeah.
right? So we
And
have to be consistent.
here we go back to the consistency, right?
Right.
And being consistent with how you do every listing. There's a method.
Yes.
It's a like it's a process, and I think it says a lot about you and your group because somebody, you never know, there could be a client who has a $5 million home, but he also has a condo that's 500,000, and maybe he has 10 of those, right? So,
Right.
I think it's really important to sort of just have that consistency in what you have your brand down packed, and you do that in everything you do. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
that's why people hire us, right? They see
yeah.
that quality and that consistency in our branding and our marketing of all types of properties. So I think that's why they hire us, and we want to give them a good experience. So
Yeah, and that's a success for you guys and for all the agents that are doing this work of not only aligning what they're saying, their narrative or
mhm.
the consistency in their language, but also the presence and also the way they present the homes. And
Right.
that's something we can't really, say enough that actually the way you present, as you said, could be something very a 500 or small, something a simple home, but still the quality has to be there.
Right.
So for new agents, that's something very important to keep in mind that the investment that they do in branding themselves and marketing their properties has to align with really what they want to actually showcase of themselves as professionals. So this
Mhm.
is a really good kind of like message for everyone that sometimes they're afraid to really like say to their clients, we have to really get the homes ready for photos. It's not only for the photos, it really goes along with the clients that you're going to attract
Right.
and the brand that you represent. So it's very important, and thank you for sharing this, Christina, because we have seen it, right? We go and we have seen through the years that sometimes, especially in a market like today, that we know we have to make an effort maybe just to offer a little bit more because clients are kind of resistant of the situation and selling and pricing and all that.
That's
But
right.
aligning your brand always have to go together with everything
Mhm.
and self-image as well. So I know you're always on point, makeup, hair, everything, but the whole team is like that. And I really admire, and I know Edelka does too, when we see people that are consistent even in their presentation,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Like when our team shows up on social media, like Layla, who works with us, is always
Yes.
put together, looks gorgeous. Dave and Carlos always look put together. That's the image we want to put out to our followers. That's our brand. And we don't want to show up like disheveled or like we just woke up or our hair is a mess.
We can still be, in very casual clothes, but
Yeah,
it all goes together. So,
right.
and
It's all
yeah,
about the first impressions. We always go back.
the 8 seconds, yeah, in the homes, through a video, through a post, through an email that you
Yeah.
sent, everything. It's so
Even
important.
even our like when we photograph our team, like we try to be cohesive and kind of not match but like coordinate our
Yeah,
outfits and like the
for
way
sure.
the places where we shoot our team photos is really important for us as well. And we just want to consistently put out that image, right? So
Yeah.
that's part of our brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think this was a great conversation. I think there's a lot of really good takeaways for real estate agents, not even real estate agents. I think in general, anybody
In
who
general.
is on social media and is, has a brand, has a company. And so thank you so much for being here. Just before we go, I wanted to ask you if there's anything else you wanted to share with the audience, with our community, how they can, connect with you and Carlos and the CB group.
Yeah.
That would be great.
For sure. You can follow me at Carlos and Christina. Carlos and I are there. You can follow our team at CB Group Realty. There we showcase our luxury listings. We talk about the GTA real estate market. We share tips for buyers and sellers. So you can follow us there. And my advice to like anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, realtor, or whoever on social media would be just be consistent. You don't have to post every single day, but show up 3-4 times a week consistently. It's like going to the gym. If you don't go consistently, you're not going to see the results. But if you are consistent, eventually over time, you're going to see results. You're going to get more followers and hopefully get some new clients. So just consistently show up and be yourself.
Thank you so much, Christina. This has been great, very helpful. I know people are going to really appreciate every tip that you have given us here.
Yes.
Please follow Christina at the CB Group or Carlos and Christina on Instagram. But I know I want to mention before you go, are you doing still projects outside of Canada? Like, do you have any new things happening right now for the CB Group?
Yeah, absolutely. We're representing projects in Florida as well as Dominican Republic right now. So if you're interested in investing in those markets, reach out to us. We also, with the agency, collaborate a lot with other offices. We have offices in Spain. We have offices in Mexico, in Panama, like all over the world. So if you're interested in investing, obviously in the US, we have offices everywhere. But even across Canada, if you're interested in connecting with an agency agent, we all know each other. We're a small boutique brand. We get together every year, and I can refer you to somebody who can help you if that's what you're looking for.
And you guys have everyone that speak every single language, I think, with you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, we do.
Well, thank you so much, Christina. We're looking forward to seeing you again in,
Yes.
different events. And thank you for everyone that have been here. You can listen to this episode again on Spotify or Apple Podcasts on Beyond the Stage, and then get this information and start branding yourself and not being afraid. So thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you,
Thanks for having
ladies.
me.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.